Welcome to Vsb News Online for Thursday, March 12th. I'm Megan Sutcliffe. The Wall Street Journal has carried a story on one hitherto confidential aspect of the America's Cup, the money that its crew can earn, after obtaining court filings connected with the suit that Oracle crewman Joe Spooner had issued against the American boat owner Larry Ellison for wrongful termination. Brian Darby has the story.
A wrongful termination suit filed by former sailor on Oracle Team USA is revealing secrets about how billionaire Larry Ellison runs his championship America's Cup sailing team. According to court filings obtained by the Wall Street Journal, fired Oracle sailor Joe Spooner was being paid $25,000 a month, or $300,000 a year, as compensation for his work as a grinder. There are 6 grinders on a typical 12-person sailing team, and they tend to be the lowest paid of the crew. Sailors responsible for more difficult tasks like standing at the helm might be paid even double what a grinder makes, according to the Wall Street Journal. Spooner reportedly asked for his compensation to be raised to $38,000 a month so that he could relocate from San Francisco to Bermuda, where the next America's Cup race will be held in 2017. Team Oracle declined to increase Spooner's pay as the request was outside of their relocation policy, and Spooner was dismissed from the team in January. The dismissal letter says, for these reasons, and in the light of the stated position that she will not otherwise relocate to Bermuda, this letter constitutes prior written notice of termination, said Team Oracle General Manager Grant Simmer, writing in Spooner's termination letter. Spooner is seeking $725,000 in wages over a 2.5-year period. He was part of the team that won the America's Cup in 2013, a campaign that Oracle team executives have said Ellison paid more than $115 million in total to win. A boat that was sailed in the 2013 race was seized by federal marshals on Monday. Spooner has filed a lien to prevent the boat being shipped to Bermuda. Brian Darby reporting for Vsb News.
Shadow Finance Minister David Burt has expressed alarm about the news that the OBA cabinet has been seeking support from local banks for money to underwrite the proposed new hotel development in St. George's. He thinks it will be a case of once bitten, twice shy.
The Progressive Labor Party was not successful in getting a hotel built in St. George's. But that does not mean that we are any less committed to wanting to make sure that it happens. But there's a challenge when the cabinet says the funding is in place, and then all of a sudden we find out that the cabinet is now raising money for the developer. It doesn't make sense, Mr. Speaker. It doesn't add up. And it seems a little bit weird, because there's a few things that kind of bothers me there. When we go back to the budget statement, Mr. Speaker, we heard the Honorable Minister of Finance say, and I quote, "The principal method of stimulus would have to be inward direct investment from abroad." And then he listed the projects which would form the inward direct investment. And one of these was the project in St. George's. So if we are now drumming up money from local banks looking for investment in this project, it would stand to represent that this is not direct investment from abroad, wouldn't it, Mr. Speaker? It would seem as though if the Minister of Finance's plan is falling short. And it would seem that the developer who is supposed to be providing this financing from abroad is not. That, Mr. Speaker, seems to be a challenge, because we know that our banks, our local banks especially, have been hit hard for their investments in local tourism projects. We know that. The list is long. You know, we go for Tucker's Point, we can go to Newstead, we can go to a lot of projects where the banks have been hit hard because of the loans for tourism projects. So, once again, we know that they don't have a lot of appetite for tourism investment, and they're certainly not going to have a lot of appetite if government policy doesn't seem to be promoting the turnaround that tourism needs. As we said many times, Mr. Speaker, lowest air arrivals in 48 years. Air visitors stay in hotels. If the amount of visitors that are coming to the island to stay in hotels are falling, it doesn't give a bank confidence that they should make a loan, that loan will be repaid.
Dr. Grant Gibbons, Minister of Economic Development, has given details in Parliament of the work of the Bermuda Development Agency. He appears particularly impressed by the success the Bermuda Development Agency has had in attracting important financial conferences to the island.
The BDA initiative to bring New York and Chicago fund lawyers to Bermuda significantly changed their perspective of Bermuda as a domicile for funds. The result of this strategy, the amendment to the Investment Funds Act, and the continuing follow-up has seen increased fund incorporations and greater potential for more business. And by the end of 2014, the BMA had recorded a total of 824 funds registered in Bermuda. This revived trust business environment and the successful lobbying of the BDA helped prompt the organizers of the very successful Transcontinental Trust Conference to hold their next conference in Bermuda during April of this year. Similarly, the Regulatory Compliance Association, RCA, has actually moved its symposium from Cayman to Bermuda and is committed to holding this annual event in Bermuda for 3 years. This is quite a change, Mr. Chairman, because this conference has traditionally been held in Cayman, which is obviously a very strong competitor on the fund front. So they've essentially agreed to hold this annual event in Bermuda for the next 3 years, beginning in April 2015. Hedge Connection will bring their Global Fund Forum to Bermuda in June 2015, and ILS Convergence Conferences will once again be held in Bermuda in November of this year. The trilingual Alaris Insurance Conference will also come to Bermuda in 2016.
Walton Brown, the PLP parliamentarian who leads the drive for independence in Parliament, has moved a motion in Parliament censoring the British government for taking positions that are not in the best interest of Bermuda, the largest of its dependent territories.
Given that the United Kingdom government has, 1, unfairly and publicly chastised Bermuda over its taxation regime, 2, rejected a decision by this Honorable House calling for a commission of inquiry into allegations of systemic property theft in these islands, 3, rejected a bipartisan call for the appointment of a Bermudian Director of Public Prosecutions, 4, rejected a bipartisan call for the appointment of a Bermudian Information Commissioner. This Honorable House concludes that the United Kingdom government is acting in a manner contrary to the best interests of Bermuda and Bermudians.
And we'll be back with more news right after this.
In an effort to make Bermuda's roads safer, and in partnership with Bermuda Police Service and the Bermuda Road Safety Council, Defense Broadcasting is launching a safe driving campaign. Complete with thumb bands, come into Defense Broadcasting and 94 Reed Street and make the commitment to drive safer and slower for yourself. Your voice could be featured on the radio. Get yourself a thumb band as a reminder of your commitment to drive safer and with fewer distractions. While you're at it, why not get one for someone in your life who also needs a reminder that our roads do not discriminate. They can take anyone's life. Let's drive safe, Bermuda, and arrive alive. Peace and love. Safe journeys.
It may not be well known, but for the past 15 years, Bermuda has been operating its own version of the Habitat charity that helps members of the community with repairs and renovations to their homes. And to date, over 80 premises have been tackled, 60 of them in the last 4 years. But now the double whammy of increasing demand for help and the need to find more money to fund the $150,000 a year budget has persuaded Director Sheila Cooper to go public through Vsb News.
Well, we got our charitable status in the year 2000. And since then, we have done probably about 65 projects here in Bermuda. And probably the reason that people don't really know about it is because we really respect the confidentiality of the people that we work for, the Habitat families. And typically those are families that have had maybe hurricane damage or whose roofs have holes in them or who have broken windows or no doors or insecure places, flooring needs replacing, and they can't afford to do that themselves. And so obviously, there's a sensitivity to that. In Habitat in other parts of the world, and we're an affiliate of Habitat International, they'll put up signs in front of the property to say Habitat is working here. Well, we don't do that, and generally we don't talk about what we do for a couple of reasons, one of which, of course, is the confidentiality, but the other is that there's a huge need in this community. And so we would probably just be inundated with requests that we couldn't fill. I mean, we are an all-volunteer organization. We have no paid staff, so everything we do is done by volunteers.
And they come to you for help.
Well, the clients, the Habitat families, yes, they seek our help. And as you know, I also run the Coalition for the Protection of Children. So a good portion of our clients that we serve through Habitat have come to us for help through the Coalition.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's
That makes sense.
yes, it's a good working relationship. We're able to do more than we otherwise would. What we do is a subset of Habitat called A Brush with Kindness, which basically means that what we do for these families is all pro bono. Families that can afford to pay us back do, and of course it's interest-free, but many of them cannot. And so, and of course, because our workers are mostly volunteers, we do have to pay plumbers and electricians and skilled people. And because we've been very fortunate to partner with some of the building companies in Bermuda, so the suppliers and so forth, then obviously the cost of the project is greatly reduced for all of those reasons.
Got a rough idea how much you've donated in help over the years?
Oh, gosh. Well, we have a sort of an annual budget of about $150,000, and that's largely for materials that we do have to buy and for skilled labor. So you multiply that, by 15 years. That's a big contribution to the community, and of course we are always looking for money.
Anglican Bishop Nicholas Dill and U.S. Consul Bob Setji are inviting the public to attend a free lunchtime concert at the Anglican Cathedral on Tuesday, March 17th from 12:15 to 1:15. Performing will be the Radcliffe Pitches and the Harvard Crocodilos in their 9th consecutive annual appearance. The Harvard a cappella groups are making the gesture this year in aid of the Bermuda food charity, the Eliza Doolittle Daily Bread Society, by asking for voluntary donations. Consul Setji, a Harvard alumni himself, said the two groups have told him repeatedly that the concert at the cathedral was one of the highlights of their annual Bermuda spring break trip. And now we turn to Earl Baisden with the latest from the sports desk.
After leading the game from the first possession until late in the fourth quarter, Bermuda came up short last evening against host Guyana, 76-73 in the first of their three-match basketball series going on in Guyana. Bermuda's coach, Roderick Spencer, is quoted as saying, "With this being our first game since the Island Games, we showed the rust with a few late turnovers that ended up being our downfall." End quote. Staying with basketball news, on the local front, in Island Basketball League playoff action last evening at the Summersfield Academy Gymnasium, it was a doubleheader. The first match saw Skyforce defeat the Thundercats 64-61. Calvert Lee led Skyforce to victory with 23 points, while Charles Peters scored a game-high 24 points for the Thundercats. In the nightcap, the Crossfire Ballers defeated the Flyboys 62-49. Jason Simon scored 17 points for the Crossfire Ballers, while the Flyboys were led by Akil Smith with 25 points. The Ariel Reed High School All-Star Rugby game took place at the National Sports Center yesterday with the Longtail Select defeating the Barracuda Select 15-12. The Longtails got 2 tries from Jacques Davali and a single try from Nick DaCosta. The Barracudas got tries from Cameron Keynes and Mikhail Dill. They also got a conversion off the boot of Giacchino Francis. Staying with rugby news, Nigel Burgess, who is known for his goalkeeping performances on the football field for Hamilton Parish, received his first cap playing for Bermuda in international rugby. Burgess talked about the experience on Saturday as he was part of the Bermuda team that defeated Turks and Caicos 55-3 at the National Sports Center. Day 2 of the Apex Physio Squash Team Challenge and Pro Exhibition event took place at the Courthouse Squash Courts last evening in Hamilton. In the challenge team play, the SAS defeated Full Metal Reds 7-2. The Scramblers defeated Courthouse 5-4. BPS Blues defeated the Bermuda Triangle 6-3, while Hiscox defeated Superstars 7-2. Waterloo defeated N-Stars 7-2, and Dem Boys defeated Sit Down Marinos 7-2. In the Pro Exhibition match, Courthouse Pro, Kristen Johnson defeated Bermuda Squash Rackets Association Club Director of Squash, Patrick Foster, 11-8, 11-8, 11-9. Foster will meet Nick Kime in tonight's match beginning at 8:30 at Courthouse. The North Village Lady Rams under-16 team secured the Bermuda Netball Association's under-16 league title at Bernard Park last evening with a 17-6 win over the PHC Lady Zebras. With the league championship title just one win away, the North Village Lady Rams displayed teamwork, skill, and discipline to dominate the game. In Corona League football action at the BAA field, the opening match last evening saw the North Village Rams defeat Tough Dogs 4-1. The Rams got 2 goals from Aljamain Zul and single strikes from Kaiwan Dill and Tafari Otterbridge, while Jeff Franklin scored the lone goal for Tough Dogs. Waterfield and Vallis scored 5 unanswered goals against Lock and Key. Waterfield and Vallis got 2 goals apiece from Keith Jennings and Eugene Calder, while Chris Miles added the other. Zaire Simmons and her Virginia State University women's tennis teammates got their season off to a good start with a hard-fought 7-2 win over Winston-Salem State. Simmons, playing in the number 1 single spot, defeated her opponent in straight sets 6-3, 6-2. Simmons then teamed up with Monette Graves in the number 1 doubles position and won their match 8-2. The Bermuda School Sports Federation over the next several days will be hosting school sports track and field championships at the National Sports Center. Senior school championships got underway this morning at 9:30 a.m. and will conclude at 2:30 p.m. Tomorrow, Friday, March 13th, the finals for the Senior School Championships will get underway at 4 p.m. until 9 p.m. with the first track race at 6 p.m. On Monday, March 16th, the primary West and West Central Zone qualifiers will take place. And on Tuesday, March 17th, the primary East and East Central Zones qualifiers will take place. On Wednesday, March 18th, it'll be day 1 of the Middle School Championships. And Thursday, March 19th, the Middle School Finals will take place. On Friday, March 20th, the primary school finals will take place. All days, with the exception of already indicated, will get underway at 9:30 a.m. and will conclude at 3:30 p.m. In Second Spring Senior Bowling League action at the Warwick Lanes, it saw Go and Get It defeated Old and Kickin' 3-1. The Blue Angels defeated the Tigers 3-1. The game between the Pin Splitters and Drifters ended 2-2, while the newcomers went down 3-1 to the last pins. The last minutes went down 3.5 to a half to the Islanders. I'm Earl Basden reporting for VSB Sports.
Looking at the weather for Friday, March 13th, it will be mostly cloudy with a shower or 2 early. Winds will be northerly moderate to strong, easing moderate by midday and veering northeasterly moderate during the night. We are expecting a high near 63 degrees Fahrenheit and a low near 59. This weather forecast is courtesy of the Bermuda Weather Service. Thanks for watching VSB News Online for Thursday, March 12th. I'm Megan Sutcliffe.